you guys, Yulia here. So in today's video, I will be showing you one of the projects I've been working on this fall. I actually made a video about a month ago talking about the first part of this project. I will put a link to that video in the description down below so you can check it out. But basically in that video, I was talking about the design itself for the space and also showed you how the contractor installed all of the hardscaping. So we had a little patio go in there and also a really pretty winding path. And also the contractor planted some foundation plantings and amended the soil as well. And I believe that I stopped the previous video where I was showing you all of the perennials that were going to go into that garden. They were still in my driveway and I was laying them out to see if we need any more plants, and of course we did. And planting of the perennials took about 2 days. And as I mentioned before, this was a neighborhood project. So the neighbors, friends and family came over to help and it was so much fun. However, some of the people in the group had no experience with gardening. They had no idea how to plant plants, so I had to give quick tutorials as to how to actually do it. The soil at this garden was horrible, and thank goodness the contractor amended the soil. We added about a couple of inches of compost and lots of mulch so it can start breaking down and adding organic matter to the soil. But I had no idea how bad it was until I brought some plants from my own garden to divide and plant in this new garden. And I had some soil remaining in a plastic tub, and I just compared how it looked versus their existing soil. And it was amazing because this garden is less than a mile away from my garden, and you could see the difference between the soil that has been amended for many, many years in my garden versus the soil that has never been amended. Now, I have been working on the soil in my garden for over 15 years, but not to disappoint you, even after a year of adding organic matter like compost, leaves, manure, or mulch, you can start seeing the difference in your soil structure and fertility because the soil was so terrible. Almost all of the perennials we had to plant using pickaxe. I also tried a root slayer that one of the neighbors brought over and I love it. It's such a great tool. So it's kind of like a shovel on steroids. It has teeth at the pointy end and it goes through the smaller rocks and really compacted soil so well. I actually ended up using the pickaxe and the root slayer to plant. And as we were putting perennials in their holes, we were teasing the roots and breaking up the root ball because they were pretty root bound. And I was explaining to others just how important it is to break up the roots if they are really root bound so they don't continue growing in the circle and they can grow out into the soil instead. For the day 2 of planting, I picked up more grasses and more perennials because I wanted that garden to look nice and full. And I also ordered some steppables for in between the stones. And for the steppables, we ended up going with star creeper, Corsican mint, and elfin thyme. Now, the star creeper and the Corsican mint I already had in my garden, so what I did is just divided the patches and placed them in between the stones and then planted them. And the elfin thyme I ordered from High Country Gardens. It came really fast. It was in great condition when it came. And elfin thyme is one of the shortest thymes out there. I believe it is less than 1 inch tall. And I think it will be so beautiful when it will start spreading in between the stones. And the reason why we went with 3 different ground covers, I always like to diversify plants in the garden because you just don't know which ones are going to do well. And also the conditions were quite different in this garden as for the sun exposure. So I know that the elfin thyme is going to receive the most sun. It's pretty much sun all day long. And then the Corsican mint and the star creeper will be in a little bit more of a shady location. And I think they will do great there. Another thing that we did is add some ceramic pots that I had in my garden and I wasn't using them, and they were perfect for their house. It actually matched the color of their siding, and they can change their display seasonally. After the perennials and steppables were planted, the space started to look like a real garden. I am so excited for it to fill in. I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful next year. However, when you do these meadow plantings, including a lot of grasses and a lot of native perennials, what happens is that they are highly ornamental in the middle of the summer, all the way through fall and winter. But in early spring and early summer, there is usually a lack of blooms. So what I suggested is for the homeowner to go to the store and get some spring blooming bulbs. And what happened is that he came back with a trunk full of bags of spring blooming bulbs and also irises from Costco. And I think he caught the garden bug. And we all know what happens when you catch that garden bug is that anytime you go somewhere, you end up coming home with a trunk full of plants. So we added that bulb layer to the garden, and that will give us a whole season of flowers, starting with the crocuses that bloom first thing in the spring, then the daffodils, then the leucogyms and alliums, and then in the beginning of the summer, we will have irises that will bloom. Overall, I am very pleased with this project. It turned out just the way the homeowners wanted. They wanted to incorporate some hardscaping in that space, also to convert their lawn into meadow planting. But most importantly, 1 week after the planting, the homeowner, who is now obsessed with gardening, from what I understand, was watering the plants, and he saw a monarch butterfly that he's never seen before, which means that not only are they happy with the project, but also it is starting to attract all of the critters and be beneficial habitat. And I will definitely keep you updated on the progress of this project and how the plants are developing. I am personally really curious about how the steppables are going to do. If everything goes well, and they will fill in those cracks in between the stones and will create that beautiful green cushiony mat that I imagine, I think that will be so beautiful. But if you are designing your garden right now, or if you're planning to design your garden in the coming winter months, don't forget to check out my garden design guide. I will put a link to that in the description down below. And thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.